Commissioner DeStito, Canal Corporation Director Stratton, James Smith, Seneca County Manager, Mr. Earl, Mr. Bovey, Mr. Sanderson, Mr. Moore, Mr. DeLalis, Mr. Heisen, representatives of our state and federal elected officials, ladies and gentlemen, and friends of the hall, one and all. So we're so happy to see you here. Welcome. My name is Ginny DeJohn. I'm a Seneca Falls resident, and I serve on the board of directors of the National Women's Hall of Fame, 25 years. Okay. So, I don't know, this is a long time coming for me, so I'm delighted to be here. On top of everything else, I'm co-chair of this event. And at this time, may I please ask you if you're able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. You may be seated. Thank you. It's our privilege to welcome all of you here today for the Hall's groundbreaking ceremony. Today we celebrate the initial transformation that will be taking place in the coming months at the Seneca Knitting Mill in order for it to become the new home for the Hall and for the Center for Great Women. It is now my privilege to introduce to you the current president of the Hall, Jill Tejan.
Thank you, Ginny, and thank you for all your efforts as the co-chair of this event. I am delighted to be here, having traveled from my home in Denver, Colorado. I would like to introduce our Hall administrator, Pat Alness. Pat? And the members of the board who are with us today. I would ask that they stand as I introduce them. Our Vice President, Jeannie Giovannini from Seneca Falls. Is Marianne here? I'm not sure that we're not sure our treasurer, Marianne O'Connor, is here. I haven't seen her yet. Kate Bennett from Rochester. Kate got this ball rolling 2 years ago. Marilyn Barrow, who I'm sure many of you know from Seneca Falls. Eileen Hartman from Rochester. Bob Kernan, Seneca Falls. Sujatha, whose last name I'm going to butcher. Ramanujan from Rochester. Past President Beverly Ryder from Los Angeles. And past President Beth Quillen Thomas from Los Angeles. Beverly and Beth are here with us today so that we can all acknowledge that we would not be here at this groundbreaking today if not for all their efforts during their individual terms as president and during their terms together as co-presidents. And although she could not be here with us today, I would also like to acknowledge board member, National Women's Hall of Fame inductee, and co-chair of this event, Judy Pfeiffer. Here's why. An infrared astronomer and astrophysicist, Judy is still working today at age 73, and she's in California, where she is irradiating a detector array to determine that array's ability to withstand cosmic ray bombardments. Yes. So work had to come first. The Hall has received support from all levels of government and many individual donors to fund the construction budget needed to rehabilitate the Seneca Knitting Mill. Today we celebrate those funders and acknowledge their efforts. And we are delighted to have such a wide-ranging representation of government officials, grant-making organizations, donors, members of the community, and the public here with us today. I know that many of you know about the background of the mill, but I don't think everyone does, and I'm just going to spend a little time on that background. This mill that we see right here is going to be transformed into the Center for Great Women here in the place where it all started, in Seneca Falls, New York. It's a beautiful and appropriate place to honor the National Women's Hall of Fame inductees. It's a presence of national and global importance, connecting the past with the future. It will allow us to do expanded programming and educational outreach, an ability to display and store the growing collection of artifacts and memorabilia from our inductees, and it preserves a very important piece of industrial history in upstate New York. Something that I actually love to tell people is that it was founded in 1844 by reform activists and abolitionists Charles Hoskins and Jacob Chamberlain, who were among the 32 men who signed the Declaration of Sentiments, the pivotal document produced at the 1848 Women's Rights Convention held here in Seneca Falls. I'm going to go off script for a minute. I'm an electrical engineer. I didn't have very much time in my curriculum for the study of women's rights. I had never heard of the Declaration of Sentiments until I arrived in Seneca Falls in 1994 for my first induction ceremony. This is a very important place. The mill operated from 1844 to 1999. It sits on nearly 2 acres of waterfront property on the Cayuga-Seneca tributary of the Erie Canal. It's in the historic district of downtown Seneca Falls and on the National Historic Register, where it was placed in 1991. It's one of the last remaining limestone structures on the waterways, and it operated as a fully functioning woolen mill until 1999. When it's rehabilitated, we'll have about 16,000 square feet of exhibit, conference, and program space. We've done the planning and the site security work. Today, the abatement work started on the mill. This summer and into early fall, we'll do stabilization, abatement, and a new roof. And I know we didn't put this in the script, but I'm going to say it anyway. For those of you who have lived in Seneca Falls for a while, I will tell you that I have heard that there will be temporarily a new blue tarp. But it will only be temporary. And after the stabilization and the new roof and the abatement is complete, then we'll do rehabilitation and work with occupancy as a goal at the end of 2016. The contract has been signed to do an engineering assessment of the brick structures. Today at lunch at Cafe 19 Menzo, I signed the contracts for the abatement work and the stabilization. And we're working with the State Historic Preservation Office to achieve a historically sensitive plan. I would also like to thank the Hall's Facilities Committee for their hard work in getting us to this point. Jeannie Giovannini is the chair. She's put her life and soul into this project. Other members of the committee include Beverly Ryder, Marie McKee, Dave Swenson, Marianne O'Connor, Bob Kernan, Judy Pfeiffer, Rona Carr, and Carol Scott. I would like to acknowledge MRB, the firm who produced our master plan and prepared the stabilization design. Scott Bova, the architect, is with us here today, as is Nancy Murguer, who guided us through the process. I'd also like to acknowledge the Gilbane Building Company, our construction management firm, who will oversee the rehabilitation of the mill and who produced a beautiful video for us that can be viewed on our website. Bill Gilbane III Wayne Hermanson and Paula Bianchi are here with us today. We have quite a number of speakers today, which we are delighted that they have all joined us. I will introduce them in order. First, Don Earl, Supervisor of the Town of Seneca Falls.
I don't want you to. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this very fine day. I want to say just a few words. Since I moved here in 1987, I began learning of the rich history that we have here through the different decades and centuries. I've grown to appreciate everyone's efforts to promote women and their contributions to our great country. We are pleased to have this groundbreaking ceremony today to honor their efforts here in Seneca Falls, where it began. Any project of this size never is easy, and as a result, many men and women's hard work, we are now here and able to restore this historic knitting mill to a world-recognized home and display of women everywhere in the past, present, and future. I'm proud of the Seneca Falls Town Board supporting this great effort with a contribution of $250,000 to restore the knitting mill that will benefit the entire town and to help promote tourism and growth for our community and for all to enjoy. I would like now to present the check to Jill and Jeannie. That is my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don, and thank you to this town of Seneca Falls for their faith and belief in us. Next, I would like to introduce Roanne DiStito, Commissioner of the Offices of General Services for the state of New York.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Jeannie. Don Earl, my colleague Brian Stratton from the Canal Corporation. It's an honor for me to be here representing Governor Cuomo as we celebrate this sort of groundbreaking, but it's a renovation groundbreaking. And living in the birthplace of the women's rights movement, New Yorkers have a reason to be proud of our historical accomplishments, and the National Women's Hall of Fame plays an essential role in honoring those women of rare and remarkable courage. Today we celebrate the fortitude of those women who stood steadfast in their commitment to women's equality. We applaud those who participated in the Seneca Falls Convention, advocated for women's suffrage, and came to this mill to work during the World Wars. The fact that I'm here today honoring their work is a testament to their success. As a member of the New York Assembly for 19 years, and now the first woman to be appointed and brought to the Senate and unanimously approved as Commissioner of the State Office of General Services, I'm acutely aware of how far women have come in achieving the goals laid out by Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Fannie White, Julia Howe, Susan B. Anthony, Lucretia Mott, and all of the other leaders and participants in the women's rights movement who followed them. As Stanton said, and I was also honored, and I'm going to go from the script too, but I was also honored to actually go to the one of the places in Johnstown, New York, where Elizabeth Cady Stanton lived, and I was very honored to meet her great niece, I believe it was. And it was very nice to talk to her. It was a great group of women in Johnstown, New York. that support the Elizabeth Cady Stanton Museum. And as she said, the history of the past is but one long struggle upward to equality. Because of their efforts, women have made strides that would have seemed impossible years ago. Today, as women, we no longer ask, "Can I?" Today, we approach unexplored territory with confidence in our voices and actions, and we say, "I will." I am proud to be a cabinet member in the administration of a governor who understands that while we have accomplished much, there are still gaps to fill. Not only as governor, but as the father of daughters, Governor Cuomo has proven his commitment to overcoming a number of issues remaining as barriers to women's equality. It's a privilege to serve in his administration, and it's an honor to be here today representing him. On behalf of the governor, I want to congratulate the National Women's Hall of Fame, the town of Seneca Falls, which continues to break ground because I understand the village and the town merged, which is one of very few towns and villages that have done that in the state of New York. And to each and every one of you who are involved in this project, I salute you, I thank you for all the work and the dedication that you have put into this project. I look forward to coming back for the grand opening. I hope I'm invited. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll invite you. Okay. I promise. Next, Brian Stratton, Director of the New York State Canal Corporation.
Thank you very much, President Tejan. I may just move this a little bit. Okay. And Supervisor Earl and our county supervisor and all of our friends and supporters here on this beautiful day in Seneca Falls. I'm Brian Stratton, the director of the New York State Canal Corporation, and on behalf of Governor Cuomo and our chairman, Howard Milstein, chairman of the Thruway Authority and the Canal Corporation, I am so pleased to be here along with my colleague, Commissioner DeStito, and help you celebrate this tremendous milestone today. The shores of New York State's canals are dotted with remarkable structures like the one we stand before today. But the canals of New York's, the shores of our canals are also dotted with stories, and perhaps none more extraordinary and compelling and enduring than the one that this particular building will help to tell. The waters of our iconic canal system have fueled 2 centuries of progress, change, and enlightenment throughout the Empire State. Today, we celebrate a work to preserve an old structure which will give new life and new space to tell the story to generations to come of this proud and successful movement which began right here in Seneca Falls. The Canal Corporation was proud to provide $150,000 in funding through Governor Cuomo's Regional Economic Development Council's CFA process, along with another CFA award of $400,000 from the state's Office of Parks and Historic Preservation to help this important project move forward. That, however, is a small fraction of the total state funding that Commissioner DeStito reminded me just before I came up here, $3.5 million going into this project, which today is up to $3.75 million thanks to the town of Seneca Falls. This new headquarters will serve as an extraordinary and appropriate venue to showcase the amazing stories of the National Women's Hall of Fame inductees. I know this magnificent facility will become a national attraction, drawing visitors from around the world to Seneca Falls, to the Cayuga-Seneca Canal, to our great Finger Lakes region, and to the great state of New York. Thank you again, and congratulations on a wonderful achievement.
Thank you, Director Stratton. Next, I'd like to welcome Kaylee Corrigan-Benedict, representing United States Senator Schumer. She is the Deputy Regional Director for the Rochester Finger Lakes region.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. The senator is really sorry he couldn't make it. This is such an exciting event, but he does have a letter that he wanted me to read on his behalf. To say that the women who launched the Equal Rights for Women movement at this place were visionaries does not scratch the surface of their intellect, foresight, or their astounding courage. The struggle they launched that day transformed American society, and given America's unique place in the family of nations, it transformed the world. But it was not an easy road. It took decades and decades of toil, organizing, fundraising, speaking, marching, and more to make this nation true to its founding principles. The awesome success they achieved is one of the great stories of American history and should fill us with pride. The newly expanded facility of the National Women's Hall of Fame will be a fantastic tourist destination and anchor to continuing economic development in the Rochester-Finger Lakes region. What's more, it will be a lasting testament to the courage of the men and women who started a movement that led to women getting the ballot, a giant step forward in the progress of our democracy. I congratulate everyone involved in this momentous day for their tireless work on behalf of women's rights and for building this national treasure. And I, too, look forward to the grand opening, and thank you very much for having us here. The Senator is very proud of this project, so thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sarah Clark, representing U.S. Senator Gillibrand's office, Deputy State Director.
Hello, and it's hard to go this far down in the lineup because so much of the important stuff has been said. But my boss, my current boss is, sorry she can't be here as well. She was just here a few weeks ago speaking at the Presbyterian Church at the pulpit that Alice Paul spoke at when she delivered the first ERA, so it was a very exciting moment for her. And I know this has been a long time in the making. I worked for Senator Clinton before, and I know how much has gone into this over the 13 years I've been involved, so this is a wonderful day. I too have a letter from Senator Gillibrand. She sends privilege and greetings to everyone attending the groundbreaking of the new site for the National Women's Hall of Fame. The National Women's Hall of Fame is the nation's oldest membership organization dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the achievement of great American women. As you celebrate this groundbreaking day here in Seneca Falls, the birthplace of the women's rights movement, let us reflect on the tremendous vision and leadership of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Lucretia Mott, and over 300 other women and men who held the first Women's Rights Convention here, ultimately leading to the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1920. Our nation's greatest resource is its people, especially those who are committed to preserving our nation's history and historical landmarks. It is wonderful to see the Seneca Knitting Mill be converted into the new home for the National Women's Hall of Fame. This museum is a testament to the strong women who fought for their rights, and it is our duty to preserve and honor them for future generations. I am grateful to Jill and to the entire board for her dedication and their leadership to ensure the history of our greatest women will continue to be celebrated for years to come. All your efforts exemplify the positive contributions individuals can make to their communities. Please accept my best wishes for a wonderful event and many more years of continued success. Thank you.
Thank you. I now have a letter to read from Representative Slaughter. Although I regret that votes in Washington prohibit me from celebrating with you today, I am delighted to congratulate you on such a momentous occasion. You can be assured that I am with you in spirit during this exciting groundbreaking. I want to commend all who have worked so hard to make this dream a reality today. The leadership of Beverly and Beth, the board and the staff, volunteers, and countless supporters have ensured that the National Women's Hall of Fame will have a permanent home that is worthy of the remarkable women it honors. This past October, I was pleased to join with over a dozen other members of Congress to celebrate and recognize First Lady Betty Ford, House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi, and others upon their induction into the National Women's Hall of Fame in Seneca Falls. As the nation's oldest membership organization dedicated to recognizing and celebrating the achievements of great American women, I was inspired to help make today's groundbreaking at the mill a reality. I wrote my female colleagues on both sides of the aisle in Congress to ask for their contributions to the hall. Years of work have gone into the move to the knitting mill, and today the journey to the hall's permanent home officially begins. 45 years ago, the women and men of Seneca Falls created the National Women's Hall of Fame, believing that the contributions of American women deserved a permanent home where the fight for women's rights began. As we break ground on the new home of the National Women's Hall of Fame, we are building the home where our daughters' daughters will visit and learn about the extraordinary women who blazed great trails before them. Congratulations to one and all on this truly momentous day. I look forward to seeing all of you at the ribbon cutting. I also have a letter to read from Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi. On behalf of the House Democratic Caucus, please accept my congratulations to the National Women's Hall of Fame on the groundbreaking of the Center for Great Women. How wonderful to celebrate this critical moment in the birthplace of the American women's rights movement, Seneca Falls, New York. Today's American women leaders stand on the shoulders of visionary and inspiring women such as Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott. Their unwavering commitment to advancing women's rights and opportunities will never be forgotten. As we honor their legacy, we recognize that there is still much work to be done. The Center for Great Women preserves our pride in the past and symbolizes our progress for the future. In the fall of 2013, I had the great privilege of being inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Standing alongside such remarkable and accomplished women is an honor that I will always cherish. I enthusiastically support the efforts of the Hall to preserve and promote the history of women's accomplishments. Through the Center for Great Women, the stories of American women throughout history will be shared with generations of women leaders to come. Congratulations again to the National Women's Hall of Fame on this important and inspiring groundbreaking of the Center for Great Women. Your work ensures that the voices of America's mothers, daughters, and granddaughters will be heard. My best wishes for a memorable and successful event. Now we have Joan Grilla, representing State Senator Nozzolio, and she is his Chief of Staff.
Good afternoon. I bring a little bit. I bring greetings from Senator Mike Nozzolio. For me personally, as someone born and raised in Seneca Falls, today is especially meaningful. I see so many people here today that have contributed to the success that we celebrate today. And I think many of us, most of us, either know someone or we worked. You worked at the knitting mill, or you knew someone in your family. So this is a site that is rich in history and very appropriate that it has been chosen as the new site for the National Women's Hall of Fame. For Senator Nozzolio, it is especially meaningful. Both his mom and his dad were factory workers at this building, so it is particularly significant to him. So again, I bring congratulations and a thank you to each and every person here who made today possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Emily Palumbos, representing State Assembly Minority Leader Brian Kolb. She is the Finger Lakes Regional Deputy Director.
Hi, thank you so much for letting me be here. Assemblyman Kolb is sorry that he's not able to be here. Man, we got some great women, don't we? Just here in Seneca Falls. I think the most exciting part when, reading about this project and being a part of this project and having such phenomenal partners in this project is the team. I mean, national funding, state funding, local funding, Finger Lakes Regional Development Council, and the town of Seneca Falls. As someone who's been involved in government for a long time, that doesn't happen. So that is a huge, it happens, okay, that it doesn't, huge accomplishment, huge. So I would just like to say congratulations to all of you, and I'm excited to possibly be a part of future history. So thank you all very much. Appreciate allowing me to be here.
I now would like to introduce Menzo Case, the president of Generations Bank.
All righty. Got notes. Hold on, I gotta just pull them up. You all scare me out there, you know, it's a lot of people out there. It's not too often that someone can stand up in front of a crowd and say that they are part of history. And today, I can't believe it. I'm part of history. And an inaugural event to something that's so fantastic. As a native of Johnstown, New York, where Susan B. Anthony was born, Elizabeth Cady Stanton was born. You got me all nervous. Elizabeth Cady Stanton was born. Now I'm going to hear it. And then to transplant to Seneca Falls as part of Generations Bank, one of my first duties was to work with Bob Kernan, who was instrumental certainly in all that's happening at the Hall of Fame, to run over there and help with their accounting and help with some of their bookkeeping. And that set the stage for me to be a part of the thinking and of the development of a plan. And I just want to say that our board of directors made the right decision in providing funding for this very special Hall of Fame location. It's very important for the town to stand behind it, and I'm so glad that the town did contribute the sum that they did, because this is where women came together with a select group of men, not many, but a few, and determined to press forward with the agenda to get the vote and to find equality. And it's unfortunate that I have the newspaper where Susan B. Anthony was arrested for voting in Rochester, and I have that unfortunate piece of history that I look at almost daily just to remind me of how far they have come, how far women have come. But to hear the horrendous news that the pay gap is still there, and to see the struggle to still find equality is a shame. And I think that having something as magnificent as this structure will be is only fitting to recognize the contributions that women have made to the arts, to government, to science, to every facet of life. And I'm just as proud as I can possibly be to be a part of that. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Although they will not be speaking today, I also want to recognize Vincent Esposito, Empire State Development, Finger Lakes Regional Officer, and Stephen Fleming, Finger Lakes Regional Representative of New York State Governor Cuomo. An event like today does not happen without the efforts and support of many people and organizations. We would like to thank the following for their support of today's events: the Corning Foundation, Duke Energy, Generations Bank, the Gould Hotel, Great Western, ITT Corporation, MRB Corporation, and the Gilbane Building Company. MRB produced the booklet for today's event, spearheaded by Diana Smith, a past mayor of the village of Seneca Falls and a long-standing Hall supporter. Let's thank her. We have we have many special guests with us today, but we have an extra special guest today, and that's one of our inductees who traveled from Washington, D.C. to be with us. Allie Latimer, if you could, would you please stand? Allie Latimer is an attorney, a civil rights activist, and a woman of many firsts, one of which she was instrumental in organizing federally employed women whose goal was equal rights for all. And now I would like to welcome Jeannie Giovannini, Vice President, to the podium. I can tell you that we would not be here today without the almost superhuman efforts of Jeannie Giovannini and her team. As Jeannie comes up, I would also like to acknowledge Bob Kernan, whose full-hearted support of the Mill Project must now be evident to every resident of Seneca Falls. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you. Thank you all for being here with us today. The Hall's efforts to transform the mill into our new home and the Center for Great Women would not be possible without all of the support that the Hall has received from our grantors, from our donors. And I would like to acknowledge our grant administrator, Linda Wyatt from Gene O'Connell's office, who is here with us today. Linda? There she is. We currently have funding from the following grants. National Park Service, Save America's Treasures. We received one of the last Save America's Treasures grants ever given. The New York State Environmental Protection Fund, administered by the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. Lori Moore and Fred Bond are here with us today. And thank you, Lori, especially for your enduring patience in getting to this day. Lori, you need to, there she is. New York State Restore New York Grant. New York State Canal Corporation, Director Stratton is here, thank you. Rochester Area Community Foundation, Jennifer Leonard, President and CEO, and Saul Monero, Program Director, are here with us today. And a special thank you to Peter Brown from the Seneca County Manager's Office, who successfully led the grant writing effort for the 2013 New York State Consolidated Funding Application. Peter? And that application is about this thick. Our heartfelt thank you to all those who have donated to the Center for Great Women, the capital campaign, to date, enabling the Hall to reach this significant milestone. Our list is long and dynamic, that's a good thing. In any campaign, there are the trailblazers. They are, in alphabetical order, Molly and Lance Blackshaw, Andrea Bonifilia, Richard Burtless, Sam and Dorothy Dickinson, Patricia Gallagher, Generations Bank, Dora Lee Dama, Becky and Herb Holden, ITT Corporation, Gretchen and Peter Koch, Michael Ross, Sarah Smith Orr, the Town of Seneca Falls, Seneca Meadows, Sussler Excavating and Wrecking, George and Susan Suen, Jill Teachin, Bill Watson, and Suzanne Welch. Again, thank you to all who have contributed not only their dollars, but their time and energy to make this happen. You are contributing to building a legacy. And please know we need your continued support. Ginny is coming back to the podium, and she will conclude our event.
Thank you, everyone. We are now going to get our shovels and ceremonially break ground for the next phase of construction of the Center for Great Women. I invite our speakers and Jean Giovannini to do that. Over here. Come on.
Right now you got it turned around.
Yeah. How do I turn this around here?